Hey everyone, I don't know when this video is going to get posted. I recorded this during the summer and I think I'm going to post this summer, so I'm sorry if you guys are watching it. It's still summer and you guys are a little bit confused. So I'm sorry about the weird audio quality. Well, if this does get posted during the summer, I just want to let you know that I will get a new microphone soon. So don't worry. Okay, and here's a little bit of a disclaimer about today's video. So I'm basically the worst trader you've ever witnessed, and I basically always overtrade. I don't really get how some people can actually trade correctly, whatever that means. Anyways, sorry if I make any mistakes on any of the information that I'm talking about, since I'm sort of hypothesizing and I might get some stuff wrong. Okay, have fun listening to me complain. When you step into Zios, you see tons of people advertising their trade list, but very few trade icons above their actual heads. But trading wasn't always this slow. If you look a few years back, it is true that getting rare wasn't quick and painless, but there was still a lot more action in the rare system than today. For example, one day you'd log on and you'd find that first glitched rings were worth an orange headdress, and the next a black headdress, and at the time that was actually worth a difference of 6 black longs. This spontaneous changes in values of items fueled each other by causing uncertainty in the actual value of the item. So at the time, it was much more common that people would see the potential in an item's value to rise, and they would overtrade for it, sort of an investment. The uncertainty of values fueled itself so that the items would rise and fall much quicker than they do now. But then we saw duping. Hackers duplicating Animal Jam rares.
It's happening again.
There is a way to dupe in the game, magenta furries, headdresses and stuff like that. There's so many more of them in the game.
And it breaks Animal Jam.
That is because of these duplicators.
Duping brought the values of items, like the headdress for example, down significantly. In fact, the light pink headdresses are worth 15 black longs less than they once were. People were scared to trade for an item as it could have been duplicated, so they only wanted to undertrade in order to get rid of the item as soon as possible. Finally, the values of items went back to normal, but they stayed a little too normal. The values became stagnant and didn't shift like they used to. This causes less excitement and desire for rares, and brings us to a rut that's pretty hard to get out of. Nowadays, most rare items have a strict value based on their color. It's very uncommon that people overtrade for items like these because their value is so strict and defined. Therefore, everyone in Alden knows their value. People think, why bother trading for it if I can't get anything more than what I traded? The only reason people would trade fair for that item in the first place is if they truly wanted it. And yes, many people do have dream items, but the ultra rare people that can really afford headdresses and furries don't have as much as a desire for them. So at this point, the rare system is at a place where nobody trades fair because it's impossible to get an overtrade. Nobody overtrades because nobody wants to invest in the items after seeing how stagnant their values remain. And all these factors just fit together perfectly to keep the rare system slow changing and honestly really boring. Yet at the same time, we also see a type of rare that's doing extremely well: pets. Ever since Animal Jam quit their deal with National Geographic, they had to leave jazz rares as well. This means that they no longer sell promo pet codes, and therefore no new pets will be added to the game. This made it so that the rarity of promo pets all of a sudden exploded. Suddenly, some seals are worth more than headdresses. But the rarity of pets still hasn't fallen back down like what usually happened to Animal Jam rares before duping was an issue. The rarity is still very high and growing. Pets are still rare because of the fact that they're customizable. I mentioned earlier that rare long spiked collars only have a couple colors, and therefore their values are super strict, set in stone, hard to profit with. But pets are very different. The ability to customize their look makes it so that there's a wide range of good looking to ugly pets, even though I believe that all pets are beautiful if you ask me. But this makes it so that it's way easier to profit off them because their rarity is much less defined, yet still defined enough that they're very rare. If Animal Jam continued with customization in some way of new items, it could actually make the rare system more riveting and challenging than it was in the first place. And even though it's challenging and riveting, it would be more profitable. Like I said earlier, investing in an item and being like, oh gosh, hopefully it doesn't go down anytime soon, rather than sitting in Brady's lab waiting in the stale environment for maybe an overtrade that gives you a bonus spiked wristband after 30 hours. But I also think that Animal Jam could take a whole new standpoint and turn their direction of how to get rare in the game. If they just added rare prizes to things such as the most challenging achievements, or maybe even leveling up in adventures, that would have people spending lots more time in adventures and working on achievements, and also having a lot more fun while doing it than we are right now. It's like how you can earn pet effects if you work hard enough in pet minigames, but honestly, this idea seems a little bit more fun than playing the pet minigames. I mean, if you look at Best Dressed, that achievement of trying to win first place 3 times in a row is really hard, but also really fun. They could even add a rare item prize wheel that could include dumb betas or even spiked wrists if you log in as a member every single day for a whole month. And maybe after a year, you can spin a wheel that has like a magenta furry, because a year is a pretty long time to log in every day. So these prizes would be really hard to get, but a lot more accessible than how it is currently to start from nothing and get rare without scamming, honestly. Maybe not even just clothing items, but what if you could earn a whole new pattern, kind of like the legendary eagles, but by reaching the adventure level 20 or maybe even 30, because that would take a long time, but the longer it takes, the more rare that pattern would become, and the more proud you feel yourself when you're wearing it. If possible, Animal Jam could even make those patterns tradable, and it would probably become pretty rare because that's much more desirable to display on your main look and try to collect all of the patterns than the type of rares that we have right now. Basically, if Animal Jam took this type of approach, people would actually desire the rares they trade for, leading to much more potential profit. And that's just one specific example of how they could get you to play their game more and earn super rare prizes. So what do you think Animal Jam could do to improve the rare system, or even just the game as a whole? Comment below and I would love to see your ideas on that type of thing. So I hope that's a pretty good explanation of what happened with the rare system. I think it could be just so much more fun, and I wish it was so much more fun, but right now it's just not. Anyways, go ahead and hug your pet cat. Bye.